Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to spend some time going over some of the best options and strategies for the solo Coliseum destroyer boss. So first I want to call attention to these nodes. The most important for this fight, in my opinion, is the diversion node. And that says every 15 seconds the attacker is inflicted with a falter passive that will trigger unless you are far away from the defender. That is the most important thing to pay attention to in this fight, in my opinion, because if it goes wrong, especially if you manage to get to 5 health bars or more, it can cause you to fail the sleep timer, which can really be tough on the fight. There's also an avarice node and a special 2 bias node. Otherwise, we have just the regular standard options that are included for solo Coliseum bosses. So let's go into some of the best options for this fight. And by far, the best option for me was my Photon. Because the falter is such a dangerous node here, Photon's medium attacks cannot miss while she is not in pure light form, and then when she is in pure light form, none of her attacks can miss. So here you can see I tried to hit him with the light there, it didn't work out, so I just go medium while that falter is active, and we're good to continue proceeding. Now, Photon also has some really good power control in this fight, which is one of the other main dangers that Destroyer presents, because she inflicts a pacify as she's hitting you with with any of her basic attacks, and that's going to be helping stop that power gain from being as nasty as it potentially could be. Now, the goal that you want to have as you're going through this fight is just try to be dexing those SP2s whenever possible. It can be a little bit of a tough dex, but a little bit of practice, and I think you'll be able to do it just fine. So my goal, I'm trying to get him to SP2s, activate my pure light form, then try to hit with my SP2s and some SP1s. The SP2s for Photon are going to inflict a taunt, and that's going to help keep Destroyer from throwing that SP3 potentially as he's getting that power gain. Not a guarantee, but every little bit helps. And here you can see we're getting hit with the falter, but it does not matter because we're in pure light form. And all in all, pretty straightforward with Photon. You are going to be taking some damage whenever you're dexing, and then you're getting rid of those buffs because Destroyer is awakened. And so eventually that is kind of going to put a ceiling in terms of how far you can go on the fight, because as he gets more and more health bars gone, that damage just gets bigger and bigger. So if you do have any buff immune options, ouch, didn't mean to have that happen, obviously, but like I said, it can be a bit of a tough dex at times. Now I'm out of pure light form. Luckily, he cooperates and does not retaliate against me when I just hit into him and miss. So Photon is who I got through the most health bars with in this fight, but there are a lot of other good options. Now we're just trying to get back to my pure light form again. One other benefit that we have from Photon is that every time the Destroyer is inflicted with a non-damaging debuff, it is going to bring down those charges that he has there. Right now he's got 28. I forget what they're called, like the destruction charges or something. Yeah, destruction charges. But non-damaging debuffs are going to bring that down, which is going to be good because if he ever gets to 100 of those, he's going to go into his crazy power gain and potentially wreck our day. That is definitely how many of my attempts on this fight ended, was I accidentally got him too high on that, and then he just doesn't want to throw his SP2, even though he has the SP2 bias, and that's not a fun thing when it happens. Just trying to complete the prompts as quickly as possible here, bait out another SP2, and then punish to get my pause. Photon, whenever you're punishing an opponent's special attack, is going to pause her pure light form, which is great. You want to try to be in that form for as long as possible so that you can just keep getting the benefit of those passive furies, and obviously the benefit of being able to bypass the falter. But you can see here we're just getting chunked down over time. Managed to get to 7 health bars in this attempt. My best attempt with Photon, I believe, was 8 health bars, but that's not this video. Of course, I wasn't recording that one. But now, I believe after this goes, yeah, we're just about dead here. One more precision buff is probably going to end the fight. And I go in, and I'm dead. At the time, this one was my best attempt. I ended up getting one more health bar a later attempt with Photon. I wasn't recording that one, so I was just trying to get through my final health bars to get all of my rewards. And now let's go into another option, and that is my Captain Britain. Britain is just really, really great for this Everest-style content. She's got the safeguard, so if you do end up getting hit, then for a period of time you're not going to be taking too much damage. So some people will use that to invul tank the SP3, basically, and then you're able to good to go. But I feel like I'm not always the best player when it comes to that kind of stuff. I have no idea why the spacing got weird with that heavy attack. I think maybe it was just that he was unstoppable. Now, my safeguard is on cooldown for a little bit, so I want to try to be careful. Let off an SP3, and then I've got my power efficiencies starting to go, and we can just try to get as many SP2s as we can. But still got to make sure that we have those neuroshocks active on him. Otherwise, we're going to be getting hit with that falter, and then we're kind of in a bad place, which obviously is happening right now. Unfortunately, it makes the power efficiencies feel like they're getting a little bit wasted, and the psionic mode is not as great, but it'll get better over time. Like I said, the falter is the biggest danger of this fight, in my opinion. It can just cause so many problems for you. If you don't have a character that specifically counters the falter, they do still work, but it is much more of a slog. So I originally was also trying to record some footage for a couple other less ideal options, I would say, like Leader and with Spider-Man, and they both work. I have a rank 3 Leader and a rank 3 Spider-Man, but it took about 5 minutes in each fight to get through about 3 health bars at most. And that's quite a slog. I don't find that very entertaining, but they are viable options if you don't have some of these other options. So I do want to call that out. If you are interested in seeing those fights, I do still have the footage recorded. Go ahead and leave a comment. If you'd like to see them, I'm happy to upload them. And now here you can see we are finally starting to get things going a little bit better. Got him with the falter there. Yeah, that unstoppable when you have the falter definitely throws me for a loop at times. Definitely feels great to not have to dex those SP2s, though, when he does have the falter. Get another SP3 to get into psionic mode and start the damage flying. Feels great when you can just let those SP2s rip. And now we're to 5 health bars, so we do want to make sure we're keeping an eye on those prompts, especially with the falter. It just makes things very, very difficult. We are coming up on the tail end of this attempt, though. Britain does work pretty well, but I ended up finding that I enjoy using Photon and my next option a little bit more. But she will absolutely help get you through this fight and help you get health bars. And just like that, I'm hit with a falter. He ends up going to SP3, and that is the end of the attempt with Captain Britain. All right, and my last option that I'm going to be showing today is my rank 3 Deathless She-Hulk. She is so phenomenal for this fight. Just really answers a lot of the problems. First off, you're going to be wanting to throw your heavy attack as often as you can, especially whenever that fear has the chance of going away, because if you have the fear debuff on Destroyer, then your attacks cannot miss. It doesn't matter if you get the falter, but you do still want to try to avoid it, because if that fear falls off while you are faltered, then all of a sudden in the middle of a combo, your attacks might just stop making contact, and that can be a recipe for a really bad day. With Deathless She-Hulk as well, you're going to be wanting to use your light attacks whenever possible to build up your trauma debuffs. That's going to help, first off, to getting rid of the destruction charges, but then it's also going to be helping ramp up your damage. And then you want to use your SP2s instead of your SP1s, because your SP2s are going to inflict 2 Wither debuffs on the opponent, which is going to really help you if Destroyer ends up getting pushed to 100 destruction charges. And those Withers are going to shut down that power gain that would really hurt you in the fight. It also will be helping with that just regular passive power gain, know that he's getting all the time as well. Yeah. The main thing is for Deathless She-Hulk, a lot of people will also want to go for some SP3s, because that is going to enhance the duration of your debuffs, and that just kind of helps smooth out the curve in terms of ramping up the fight and maintaining your traumas. You'll see here in this attempt, I do end up losing the traumas periodically and have to get started back over from scratch, which isn't ideal. There you can see I'm faltered, but I've got the fear, so we're good to go. But the fear is also getting ready to be gone, and I accidentally just hit into him and missed right there. Luckily, he didn't punish me, but that was definitely a danger for a moment. Now I've got the falter again, no fear, so I need to hold back. And this is one of the places where I lose my traumas. So, like I said, you really want to be focusing on maintaining that fear, because otherwise it just is going to really mess up your tempo. There, I just eat an SP2. Luckily, I don't die. But that is going to be a bit of a detriment towards the rest of the fight. Other than this, it's very straightforward for the rest of the fight. Just trying to get him faltered so that I don't have to worry about that danger. And then keep throwing the SP2s to keep up the Wither, keep building up the traumas with your light attacks, and just let the damage fly. And unfortunately, I didn't get the timing quite right there with the fear, but again, didn't get punished. And again, the falter. It's such a momentum killer. I hate it. I don't like how it's pushing me to make him throw those SP1s so that I can refresh my traumas. Luckily, the Wither is going to help me if he does keep getting those 100 charges, like I said. So the SP1s aren't quite as dangerous with Deathless She-Hulk for that reason. I'll go ahead and let the rest of the fight play out, but it is a lot more of this. Keep throwing those SP2s, keep using those light attacks, keep trying to maintain that fear, and if you're able to do that, you're going to end up getting through the health bars over a bit of time. Good luck with this fight, everybody. It is a tricky fight, even when you have the right counters. I do think it's pretty fun, especially after I got the hang of it, but yeah, it was a bit of a challenge at first, that's for sure. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to see any of those alternative options, I'm happy to go ahead and give them another try, maybe get a little bit more footage of that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time.